Danny, you're such a good friend, and I so appreciate you spending time with me today. You have such an incredible story that I would love for my listeners to hear. So just tell a little bit about that story as much as you want to share, because I know it's a very vulnerable story, but I think
Yeah.
it's so fascinating.
Yeah,
Let's tell everybody what we're talking about.
absolutely, Francesca. And thanks a lot. It's great to be here with you all right now. So when I was almost 29 years of age, I was working as a bartender. I graduated college and took some jobs that really didn't fulfill me. So I was just working tending bar and doing some construction and roofing, which, it kind of worked at the time. And a buddy and I worked for two brothers, and one of the brothers and I were lowering a metal ladder. We thought we'd be clear of an electric line, and we weren't. And we hit it, and it was a high tension line. So it had about 8 or 10,000 volts of electricity in it, and it came down the ladder, obviously, and into both of us. And that
Wow.
surge of electricity killed both of us. Yeah.
Wow. But there's more to it than that, right? I mean, it killed both of you, and
Yeah.
you're here to tell the story.
Yeah. It did. It killed both of us, and I was dead, according to it. An eyewitness that came and did CPR on me, the other brother, he was up on the roof at the time. I was dead. He would always estimate like 8 minutes or something. But he would always say, there's no doubt, you were dead. So I came back to life, and we lost my good friend that day. So that was the tragedy, losing him. Then when I come back to life, obviously I'm trying to figure out, what happened. I'm blaming myself. I got a lot of guilt.
Right.
I severed the cord with God. I was always a faithful person. And I just thought, God, how could you let this happen? He's married, 3 kids, wonderful man. I didn't have any
Right.
kids. Kind of like, you got the wrong guy type of thing. So, yeah, that's kind of the short story of the accident.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was a very overwhelming feeling for you too, that you worked on and really brought you to the work that you do today, which I think is so fascinating. So you had this injury, you kept thinking that you were in the wrong place at the wrong time. Let's unpack a little bit of how you overcame those feelings. But before we do that, I'd
Yeah.
like to share what your feelings were in that 6 or 8 minute time frame. Like, what
Yeah.
happened to you when you were out, air quotes, out here?
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. When the electricity hit my body, I just had this tremendous surge. I remember that, and I thought in just a nanosecond I got shot, or there was a nuclear explosion or something, because that was just the feeling. And then that was it. I had no worry or anger or anything else, or pain. I was very peaceful. I think the best way to describe it is I knew I was dead, or I knew I was dying and crossing over. And I saw the other brother coming down the ladder. He had apparently heard that the ladder hit the electric line.
Right.
So I have this calm about me now, and I see him coming down, and I'm yelling to him, get your brother, hey, get your brother, get your brother. And I wasn't yelling for help or anything, because I now, as I reflect on, I was there, but I really wasn't. And then my
Right.
soul, as I call it, some people may call it spirit, life force, energy, consciousness. There's an energy, I believe, Francesca, that makes us go. In addition to our heart and our lungs and our brain, we need those
Right.
3. And then there's the big 4th one. And
Yeah.
I believe it's my divine energy, my soul. And when our body stops, that leaves. And mine did. And it was joined with source, what I call God, in a very cosmic kind of communication. I didn't see any deceased loved ones or no light and tunnel. That was not my experience.
Right.
I just had an overwhelming sense of floating, peace, love, darkness, union. Yeah, it was very, very difficult to write about in the book, because you're trying to describe this happening, this instance, and it's
Right.
not describable in these words. So I'm communicating with God in a very cosmic way, and I have a choice to stay or go back. And I said, what about my mom, and what about Lisa, who's my wife of almost 30 years now? She was my girlfriend then. We had broken up a few times, but my thought was, right, that cosmic thought was,
Right.
what about them? This is going to kill them. 28-year-old son, boyfriend is gone. And then that's when I was right back in my body I just came back to life.
Wow.
And I didn't open my eyes because they weren't closed. So I can't move because the electricity paralyzed me, just
Mm.
for a moment. Right. And then I got so it was all pins and needles. Then I got my motor skills back, and I crawled up next to the brother who had come down the ladder, who I was yelling to, and he was doing CPR on his brother who was injured with me, and I crawled up next to him, and he said, "How are you here?" And I looked and I said, "I don't know what you're talking about, but I'll help." So we were both doing CPR. And then the paramedics and the police got there, and I looked pretty fine at that point. And they said, "You get away. We got this." So I went and sat against the fence, and my feet were killing me. And I looked down, I had little holes in my work boots. I took them off. Then I had holes in my socks with black around the edges. And then I had holes in my feet. The electricity went out each side of each foot. So I had 4 holes there, and there was no blood.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm looking in
There was
there, and
no blood.
no, it got cauterized on the way out. So I was literally like, I was just looking into a hole in my foot. And here's the thing, interesting thing. I don't even know what adjective to describe the thing. The brother Stu that was coming down the ladder that I was yelling to, he comes over to me then, and he says, "What happened?" And I said, "I guess we hit the wire." And he said, "Yeah, you did." He said, "I heard it." And I said, "I know. I saw you coming down. I was yelling to you to get your brother." And he looked, he said, "What?" I said, I was yelling to you to get your brother." And he said, "No." He said, "You didn't say anything. I came to you first and worked on you for a little while." He said, "Your eyes are rolled back,
Wow.
no heart rate, dead." So he was doing CPR on me first, and then ran across the street and called 911, and then ran back past me, still dead, went to his brother. And then that's when I crawled up next to him. So, to all the audience and the listeners, I would just offer them that when your body stops, there's another part of you that doesn't. So pay
I
attention to
love
that.
that.
Pay attention to that now in whatever way you do.
Right.
I have my religion and my spiritual practices, and,
Right.
who am I to say they're right?
Yeah. I literally got the chills from you just saying your story. I've read about it. I've seen videos on it. I'm going to link your YouTube video in the show notes, but it is chilling. But what I love about your story, Danny, and what I want to talk about now is you came back and you helped me realize that we are here to be of service to others. And that's by you having that vision of your mother and your then girlfriend, now wife. Like, to me, that's proof positive. That's proof of concept.
Yeah.
That's proof of life concept to me, saying, I'm not here for me. I'm here for everybody else.
Yes.
So I love that. And now you're on this incredible journey where you help others realize that. Let's talk about like these presentations and how you inspire others with vision.
Yeah. So vision, I think, is really, really important for us. And the way that it kind of hit me upside the head, so to speak, is after I had the accident in July. It was in October, and I went down to the Outer Banks of North Carolina. And, if anybody's read Back to Life, the book is a fictionalized story, but based on this. And this part is very true. I went down there with the intention of not coming back. I was at, the end of my rope. I was very desperate, and I was just going to surrender to this pain and just be done with life. And I went out one day to look for a hose that I was just going to put in the tailpipe and then run it. I was just going to asphyxiate myself on the beach. And I don't know who, why, what she was, but I do believe in angels. And one showed up that day in this little hardware store in Kill Devil's Hills in the Outer Banks of North Carolina. This little woman came down when I'm looking at the hoses, and I don't even remember what she said, but she just kind of snapped me out of the thoughts that I was having. And I thought, okay, what do I do now? So I went out and got drunk, which was my mode of dealing with a lot of things then. And I'm walking back towards my little motel after a few hours of some serious drinking. And I see a phone booth, and I walk in, I call my mom, and she says, "When are you coming home? We can't wait to see you." And I had a lump in my throat, and I told her I love her. I'll be home. And I walked out of the phone booth, and here's where vision saved my life. And I know now that it's such a powerful principle. The little voice in my head said, "I wonder what it's going to be like when I get better." So vision, the way I offer it to people is it's the ability for us to imagine what needs to be real. So, my fourth book here, Taking the Shit Out of the Show, is 7 short stories for people to navigate life's challenges. So vision's a very, very big part of getting through the tough times. It doesn't dismiss the brutal facts that we're dealing with, right? When we lose somebody we love, when we have an injury like this, when we get laid off, when we get divorced, whatever, all the pains that we experience as human beings, we have to deal with those facts and move through them. When we can get a good, clear image of the other side of this struggle, that oftentimes gives us the energy to stay in and deal with it. If we're just focused on the shit we have to deal with, sometimes we just, we get beat, life beats us down, and, we self-medicate or whatever.
What are some daily practices that work for you that perhaps I don't want to say prescribe, but for lack of a better word, that we can do that will help us get us to that point where we need to stop ourselves and realize, okay, I need to take a step back.
Yeah. Well, I think meditation is a really good practice for people if you're not. And I like the meditation, just a breathing meditation, a mindfulness meditation. I'll do it almost every day, sometimes 2 times a day. 11 minutes, 11's a special number to me. I used to see it a lot when my friend passed. And it's I'm not into numbers tremendously, but 11:11 is what I would see. And it's new beginnings and fresh starts. So I always felt that it was my friend who passed away. It was his sign to me just to say, take a deep breath and it's going to be okay. Just keep going. So I like to meditate because I think meditation, what it does, Francesca, a lot of people go, I can't stop my mind from racing and thinking. And that's not the point of meditation, to get it all out. It's to become more conscious of what those thoughts are. Right here, and then let them go, and then next one, let them go, and then you'll settle. And then there's the ability for us to come back, like you said, the pause, and really think about the thoughts that we're holding in life, and are they useful?
Right.
Because most times the thoughts that we're holding, what we're saying to ourselves, is not useful. It's not putting us into a strong emotional state so that we can take the action that we need. So I think prayer is really good. I always smile as soon as I wake up in the morning. I just lay in bed and smile. And I've got a bunch of people now that tell me they do it. And some people go, oh my God, that's like the craziest thing in the world. But I'm like, nobody's going to see you. Right.
Right. Who's right. Who's going to see you?
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, unless your sleep, whoever's sleeping with may look, but that's okay. They'll think you're smiling at them. And that's probably a good thing as well. So I do that. And then I do, I just say, a little gratitude. Thanks for what I have. Might send a prayer or 2 off to somebody that's struggling. And I work to envision my day. And say, what am I working on today? Number 1. And number 2, more importantly, how am I going to show up?
Right.
How am I going to be ready to lead with service and lead with love? And, take a breath when I fear anger or frustration showing up. It's going to show up for us. It's, you don't walk around, like Peter Pan every day. You got to deal with the crap. It's just, let's stay aware. And when it shows up, let's have a strategy to not let it overwhelm us.
Exactly. Which can happen in our car with road rage, right?
Oh, like sure.
It happens when we're not thinking about it. But that is so great because I practice those things, but it's great to hear it from people like you who are like, this is how I do it. And this is what works. Another thing that I know you do, or at least you've mentioned it before, is the letter to your future self. Right. And you and I talked about that for a few moments before we hit record. This is something that I do personally, like you said, to set vision. And I don't read it weekly. I just save it for myself for the last day of the year. Like I date it 12/31/2022.
Yeah, it's a great exercise.
Great exercise, right? Just like that could help people out there that maybe just don't know where to start with vision. Well, and think about what you want out of life, right?
Yeah.
And what that means.
Yeah, it's very powerful. I'm glad that you do it and you know the value of it. I learned the exercise in 2007, I guess. I was working for a large credit card bank in Wilmington, Delaware, MBNA, and I was out in Santa Barbara at a coaching school getting my certification for coaching. And, coaching is all about taking people forward, right? Which is vision.
Right.
Therapy is going backwards. So coaches, we should, and sometimes, you see coaches trying to go back and unravel some bad things in the past. And we most likely are not qualified for that. So coaching is all about going forward. So we did this exercise, the vision exercise, and it was, and I just did it. I was in Houston this week with 4 Marriott properties working with their GM and their whole leadership team. And I did the exercise with them, and people just really, the majority of people love it because it's
Mm,
all about them. And what you do is I said, okay, here we are on April 12th or whatever it was. You have almost, 9 months now, from March, almost 9 months till the end of the year. If I see you in December and I say, hey, how's everything been since April in your health and
right,
your wealth and your career, spirituality, fun, travel,
right,
relationships, all those areas of your life. And you go, you know what, Danny, it's been a really good 9 months. And I ask, hey, Francesca, why? What are you going to tell me? That's your
right,
vision. So you're going to start to tell me all the things that happened. And it's very important too to say how they happened. You got to do a little bit of the process in there.
right,
And what's really powerful then, and if you're writing it from December 31st, you're writing it in past tense because
mhm,
it already happened. And I believe what's so powerful there is our brain loves completion. Our brain loves to close loops. That's what scientists call them, open loops. When
right,
somebody says, hey, you need to, at work, you need to update the budget and send it over to me, that's an open loop. When somebody says, I need to buy new running shoes for that's an open loop. It
right,
doesn't matter what it is. So if you can look at the 9 months and create these open loops, so you explain the 9 months as if your life already happened and it didn't. And I think if you read that, I encourage people to read it every week. We put it in their calendar as an all-day event on Friday. Then what happens is your brain now is wired to close the gap on that. It says, wait
yeah,
a minute, this is what you said was real and it's not yet. So what do we need to do? So I think it's a really good driver for action, which,
right,
I think a lot of times in personal growth, self-help and all, a lot is that think about it, think about it, think about it, think about it, think about it. And it's just going to show up. And I'm like, yeah, there's an energy to thinking. And, we got to get off our ass and do things as well. Take some
right.
action,
We have to strategize. And what I love about that too, Danny, is when you presented to the Marriott properties is that it's never too late.
right now.
I love that, right?
Yeah.
What is your strategy vision for the rest of the year? So I really love that.
Sure. I mean,
So
it's a powerful principle, right, Francesca?
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
athletes know it, business people know it. Steve Jobs, the vision of, he said to his team, what would it be like, right? I wonder, that's a great sentence to begin things with. I wonder what it'd be like if we could develop something smaller than a deck of playing cards that holds 1,000 songs.
right.
And they're all going, oh, yeah. And then you got the iPod. And then when you got the iPod, I wonder what it'd be like if we could merge the phone and the music and then holds 10. And then here we are,
And here
So
we are.
the
Yeah.
ability to wonder in life is very, very powerful. And that's
Hmm.
that principle of vision. And the thing is, you do it, the nice thing is I get emails around January, December from people that I worked with years ago that say, hey, Danny, life's good. I hope you're doing well. And I just wrote my letter. So
Oh,
it's pretty cool.
that is really cool for people to get back to you. So yeah, I mean, if anybody's looking for a book to read, Danny has 4 great books. Back to Life, as you mentioned, is a story. But in all of these presentations that you do, Danny, do you have a favorite piece of clothing or accessory, and how does it make you feel?
When I do the presentations or in life?
Let's say in life, because that's every
Okay.
day, right? The
In the
presentations are just.
presentation, yeah, in the presentations, I think it's my jeans.
Mhm.
I used to do it a lot in suits, and depending on where you are, you got a tie and French cuffs if you're up in New York, with the finance people, and that has
Right,
really changed. So for presentations, it's just to have a nice pair of jeans on and feel
right,
comfortable. In
right.
life, I would say it is my flip flops. I have somewhat of an addiction to flip flops, and I like them. And why is because when I'm usually wearing them, not all the time because I live outside of Philadelphia, but the majority of the time I'm near the beach.
Right.
And that I have a couple of happy places. The beach is truly my happiest of all places to be.
Well, that is the exact right answer. Everybody should know that we didn't rehearse that answer because this is the office flip-flops show. So the fact you are the first of my guests to mention that. That is the
Yeah.
coolest thing. Round of
Yeah.
applause. Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome. You're welcome. When I saw the title, I just loved it. And I didn't know that you had this question where you ask, hey, what's your favorite piece of, article of clothing or something?
Right. Right.
No, there's no question it is, it definitely, yeah, flip flops are good.
I love that. Danny, this has been amazing. If someone wanted to continue the conversation with you, work with you,
Mhm.
where's the best place for them to find you?
Yeah, that would be great. I would say go to the website because
Okay.
from the website, they could hit contact Danny and kind of send an email to me through the website that I would get. And
Okay.
it also then will link them out if they want to go watch some YouTube videos. All my podcasts are in the website. So if they wanted to get information, for a talk I do within organizations, and then I also do a stronger faith-based talk, because in organizations, you got to watch talking about faith, although that's getting a little better. I'll do a lot at churches and parishes and things. So if they had interest, I'd be happy to chat with them. That would be great.
Well, this has been great. And I'll absolutely put everything in the show notes to make it easy for everybody. So Danny, thank you so much for your time today. I just treasure it so much. I hope you have an incredible day.
Oh, thank you. Yes, Francesca, thanks a lot for the work you do, and wishing you all the best.
Thank you.